Hey, Brian, did you hear the college football playoff might be expanding?
Yeah, they're going to 8 teams. They're going to 8 teams, right?
What's up, Internet? Colby, Brian, and Jeff here from Fanout Crew for our sixth episode. Is that correct, guys? I think we're on episode 6 now for our weekly podcast.
Yeah.
I lost
How
count.
is Revenge of the Sith? What is that? Is that a Star Trek?
I meant sixth, but fuck.
Cut. So, how was your week, guys? How things going?
It was a good week. I had a couple of emotional moments. Selling my first hot rod, and she's leaving tomorrow, so I got that.
You have a hot rod?
Watched.
But now I have a parking spot in the driveway.
Yeah, my old '87 Mustang.
Oh,
I know.
yeah.
She's leaving tomorrow.
When you said hot rod, I thought you meant hot
supposedly.
rod. No wonder I didn't know what car you were talking about. So, interesting.
Burn.
Yeah, that hurts.
Is it that's not the gold car, right? That's your uncle's car, right?
It's yeah, similar style, but I always called this one the black car. It's all black, flat black with red interior.
Nice. I don't
I
think I've ever
actually
seen it.
had the exact same car, but an '88. With
Yeah,
a lot less power engine.
Yeah, I got that car when I was like 17 or 18. Bought it from my cousin after he got arrested running from the police in it, so that he could get bail, and then
Couldn't have been that fast
popped
then.
it up some more. Well, he ran for like 45 minutes, and then he turned into a cul-de-sac and didn't have anywhere else to go, so
Oof.
driver error. But yeah, I fucked up when I was like 20 years old and wrecked it doing a donut in the middle of the highway in front of a dump truck. And yeah, so me and my dad restored it together after that, rebuilt the engine together, redid the interior, custom interior. So I spent a lot of time with my dad building that car, and now it's gone. She's leaving.
So Brian's had a hell of a week. Jeff,
Yeah.
how was your week?
Conan. A lot of Conan.
Yeah, he's cool. I like him a little bit more than like Jimmy Fallon and the other guy.
Yeah, it's his hair that does it.
Right.
For me.
His last episode is actually on the 24th, I think, with
Yeah.
Jack
last
Black.
season.
You're talking about
Or last
the
episode, yeah.
Conan Exiles.
Yeah, the video game.
Tell us about that.
It's like Ark/ESO/Witcher.
You just like it
Fucking
because you can
badass.
have sex with people.
No, but you do get to see big old titties bouncing around, nipples, everything. It's fun.
What the hell are you doing here?
Taking a break.
Right. It's always good.
He's got like one Popeye arm. You can't see it in camera.
Yeah, nice. So I'm still dealing with this.
Actually, what's the cool thing in
Go
my
ahead.
controller has 3 joysticks.
Wow.
One of them doesn't quite work as well as the other ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rubbed down.
Just
way
add
too
some
much.
lube. You'll be right as rain.
This is taking a turn for the worse.
We're just talking about analog sticks, Brian. So, speaking of turn for the worse, yeah, I'm still dealing with this stupid roof of mine. The roofing materials, we're going on week 3 now in my driveway, and I'm just expecting to come out tomorrow from this tropical storm weather and just have like roofing nails all in my tires. So, really looking
Now,
forward
is
to
it
that.
the debris or is it like the new shingles?
It's the new shingles, and like we just got the
like the felt and all that.
Yeah, we just got the check from the insurance company like today. Like my wife actually sent me a picture of it. She was like, "Oh my god, it finally came." So we will see. I
I
don't know.
can't believe you guys got material with like without anything being paid for.
Yeah,
That's what's crazy.
it's
to
a
me.
whole thing, dude. Like it's nuts. I mean, it's like
Yeah, because what stops you from going on fucking Craigslist and saying, "Hey, anybody need some roofing?"
yeah,
materials?"
I never got this. This was never delivered. You know?
I
mean,
know what
it's
you're talking about.
yeah.
I thought your guys came and picked it up.
Yeah, it's like what coastal granite? Oh, we never told you the color. Oh, like I don't know. We don't have a we don't have a date yet when it's getting installed, and plus hurricane season is here now, and it's like great. I can't just wait to get a new roof, like because
Yeah,
it's getting torn off. But whatever. I'd rather have
Maybe
one
it'll
new
get
than
ripped off again, and you'll go
Yeah.
through it all over again.
And then you'll be replacing your whole house.
yeah. It is what it is, though. We'll figure it out.
Yeah,
But
it's gonna suck if you guys get because you get really bad water on your street.
yeah, our
that
street will
shit
flood
gets
in
too
like
high, that
like
stuff's
10
just gonna
minutes.
flood
Just a
away.
regular rain, our street will flood. We're not in a flood zone either, which is crazy. But it's just the street itself is just the way that it's laid out. It just
Your
doesn't drain
street
very
looks
well.
like a river when it rains.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've seen people like actually like
Yeah.
I've got pictures of people like tubing and like kayaking and stuff after Sally. Just
Off air, you're gonna have to tell me the street address.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm curious now. I'm sure I know where it is.
Yep. Anyway, I wanted to jump into the first topic tonight. Wanted to kind of talk about college football's potential playoff expansion. Have either of you heard the details of the proposal and kind of like what the like different teams are and the criteria and stuff?
I
Yeah.
skimmed through it.
Yeah, I heard that the NFL is better.
Yeah, that's a wrong.
All right, guys, this has been episode 6. We'll see you next time. Fanout. Let me share my screen real quick, and I'll show you kind of what I am talking about here. So let me know if you guys can see that.
I wasn't planning on you sharing, so my props all messed up.
All right, that's fine. I just wanted you to be able to look at the proposal and stuff. You can minimize your cameras.
I can't see all of what you're sharing.
Oh, all right. Well,
I see the center.
I know
of what
the
you're sharing.
gist of it. They're wanting to go to 12 teams.
yeah. So I'm just gonna read here from this is actually from like collegefootballplayoff.com. So the proposal calls for the bracket each year to include the 6 highest ranked conference champions plus the 6 highest ranked other teams as determined by the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. No conference would qualify automatically, and there would be no limit on the number of participants from a conference. So the language here is very specific about 6 highest ranked conference champions. It doesn't say anything about any specific conferences. So, Jeff, I know you're familiar, but Brian, you may not be. There's
Can I ask one clarifying
Sure.
question? Is the commissioner's name Bob Bowlesby?
Yep. It's very on the nose.
Was he born for that?
Yeah.
Or
Yep.
just checking.
Yep. Good call.
Some people are born for greatness.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
So 6 highest ranked conference champions. There's 2 main conference groups in major college football. There's the Power 5, which is SEC, Big 10, ACC, Big 12, Pac-12, right? And then there is what they call the Group of 5, which is like Conference USA, the All-American Conference, and some other like Sun Belt, like smaller conferences and stuff.
Whack.
Yeah. This proposal would basically guarantee at least one Group of 5 team is in the playoffs every year, and that's never happened before because currently they only have 4 spots. Because there's 5 power conferences, and if those 5 champions are ranked highly enough, they'll automatically go, and then one Group of 5 team would go, at least guaranteed, and then the remaining 6 teams would be picked sort of just at large bids based on the highest ranked teams. So if you have like
And that should be exactly how it should be.
So if you have like a 1-loss Florida, like let's say Georgia goes undefeated in the East and beats Florida, or whatever, it doesn't matter who it is. If there's a
Right.
if there's a 1-loss team who doesn't go to the conference championship, but they only lost one time and they're in a really good conference like the SEC, they probably would still make it, right? So
Right. Which has happened before in this playoffs.
yeah, exactly. Alabama went to the championship game in 2017 and didn't win their conference, so it happens. Go ahead, Brian. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say personally, I've never really understood or liked the ranking system.
Oh, it's horrible. It sucks.
Like,
it's all
it's-
regional and biased.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
But this would help out a ton because then you would get the teams that should be in there.
But
You know
it's
what I
still
mean?
based on the rankings.
Right, but it's still you've got to. Usually, I've always said the top 10, but 12 is where it should be at because you would have the even teams going for the playoffs. But like the top 10 teams are usually the best teams in the country, no matter what.
Right.
Even if you have these out of conference, teams like what is it? They always win the 1AA championship. What's the damn name of that team?
Well, there's a lot, but
No, it's that one that always wins their little title or whatever they have every year.
in the
But they're a smaller program.
the FCS, the football championship subdivision. There's like North Dakota State,
Yeah.
and they win a lot. But
It's a
I know what you're
weird
saying.
name.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, but anyway, if they were to be, which they could possibly be, especially with this, the thing is now they'll have to rank these teams differently than they have been because they're going to give those outside teams a shot with no losses or one loss because you'll have some of those teams.
Oh, you'll have
that might
you'll
not
have 3
any
lost
loss,
teams in the
and they'll
playoff
still-
under this scenario.
Yeah, and they'll rank them 20th. But with this right here, they'll be like, well, let's give them a shot. They'll still have to beat some of the best teams to even get to the championship.
Yeah.
game.
So
I think this is great.
So I've laid out half of the thing. So the next half of it, the really interesting part is the 4 highest ranked conference champions would be seeded 1 through 4, and each would receive a first round bye. So your top 4 teams are basically going to be the same. Like in our current system, those 4 teams would have made the playoff. So in 2019, let's say this system were in place. Not 2019, 2020. Let's say this system were in place, right? You'd have the top 4 teams would be Bama, Ohio State, Clemson, and Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Now we'll get to Notre Dame in a minute because they're a little bit different with this new system. But if the same rules applied from 2020, they would all have gotten first round byes, meaning they would just go to the semis,
They wouldn't
basically.
have to play the first week.
Yeah. Now,
Why?
because they earned the right to skip ahead. But well, you can't have a
But that's dumb.
Hang on, you can't have.
That's giving a better team an advantage.
But that's the point. You can't have a 12-team tournament because it's not. It's an even number, but it's not. You'd have to be 8 or 16 to all play each other in the first round because it's 12. 4 of them have to get a bye, and then the other 8 teams play each other in the next 4 games. So.
Right, but I feel like you're taking the 4 best teams and then giving them an advantage by not making them play in the first round.
That's what the NFL does. Exactly what the NFL does.
Yeah,
and I don't agree with that either.
It's almost like when I played Little League baseball. Their playoff system was the number 1 team played the number 16 team. The number 16 team wasn't worth a shit, so it was basically like a bye anyway.
Right.
There was always this chance of you losing, but you reward the top team regardless of any system.
To me, that feels almost like with the FHA loan for your house. Like you've got worse credit, so we're going to charge you more to make sure that you
that's
pay.
it. That's what it is. Like you're being rewarded for having a better season. So like the top 4 teams are pretty much going to be either undefeated or at worst they're going to have like one really close loss to one of those other 4 teams, probably, right? Or one of those other 3 teams. So they're being rewarded for having such a good season.
They are, but just who is the top 2 teams from last year? I legitimately don't know.
If you go by what team is
really, in all honesty, it was Clemson and Alabama, but it wound up being
Bama and Ohio State played in the title game. So
let me ask you this, Colby. If Clemson was ranked number 4 and got a bye, and Alabama was somehow ranked number 5 and didn't get a bye, and then Alabama wins their game, Clemson moves on, and then in the second round, Alabama plays Clemson. Alabama is more likely to have injured players.
Yeah,
from having to play the week before, would you not be pissed as a fan that your team?
Sure, but you got to understand that there's no way. Speaking specifically for Alabama, there's no way that an undefeated Alabama is ranked number 5. Just period, right? Because they would.
No, you're not wrong. It's definitely a made up scenario, but it could be any team.
Well, you have Florida. I don't think it was last year. I think it was 2 years ago. Florida had 2 bye weeks because they played 2 weeks early, I believe, against Miami, the Hurricanes.
Mm-hmm.
So they played their first game and then had a bye week and then basically started the regular season and then had their bye week, their official bye week later on in the season, and people were pissed off about it. Well, they got 2 bye weeks. Well, they also played 2 weeks before everybody else too.
So I haven't gotten to 5, 6, 7, and 8 yet because they have some special stuff too. So 1 through 4 get a bye, right? They automatically go to the semifinals. Okay, the quarterfinals are then played. 5 would play 12, 6 plays 11, 7 plays 10, 9 play. 8 plays 9. Right.
Right.
Now, 5, 6, 7, 8 actually get to host a home playoff game, which has never happened before. Happened before because in the 7 years we've had the playoffs since 2014, the playoffs are all neutral site games, right? They rotate.
Right.
They
It's all
rotate
bowl
between.
sites.
They rotate between the bowl sites and stuff. So, the highest ranked team of 5, 6, 7, 8 basically would host a home playoff game. So while 1 and 4 are at home resting, they have won that right. 5, 6, 7, and 8 also had very good seasons. They have earned the right to have a home playoff game, which is crazy because now that's millions of more dollars their college town gets, because these college football games make
these
stupid.
are going to be fucking huge,
right? And that's it's all about money. That's what they're doing here. They can talk about it being in the guise of fairness and giving everybody their shot, and that will happen. But this is purely about money. I mean, fine,
Well, it's always been about money.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the whole, that's why they didn't want to expand the playoffs to begin with, because they thought it was going to cut into the bowl game.
Right. So those those quarterfinal and semifinal games would be bowl games, which is it's just like it's interesting. The championship continues to be at a neutral site, and it rotates each year. The major the New Year's Six games, basically, Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl, those games, stuff like that. They rotate the championship game. So you're going to have, instead of having 3 playoff games, because right now there's 3 total playoff games, because if there's 4 teams and 3 have to lose, right? You're going to have 11 playoff games. So a lot of people are saying that you're going to have less opt-outs, because in the last few years, especially since the playoffs started, a lot of teams, like Florida was a good example last year. They lost in the SEC title game, so they felt like the bowl game they were getting to play against Oklahoma was sort of a waste, and a lot of their players just chose not to play. Now, I guarantee you, if that was a playoff game, Pitts is playing, Tony's playing, like it's ride or die at that point, So
because Florida had a great team. I mean, Florida played Alabama better than anybody else all season.
Yeah, I mean, it was the closest game.
After that game, it was like, well, we're not going to make it to the playoffs now. Our season's over. Oh, well, let's go to this bowl game. And the guys that were going to the pros, like guaranteed to get drafted, they were like, fuck that, we're not going. So we got our asses stomped. And like
Oklahoma was hot
people gave
at that time of year, though. Like they lost 2 games, or they lost 2 of their first 3 games, and then Spencer Rattler finally decided they figured out how to play quarterback, and they were dangerous last year.
But they Mullen said after the game at a press conference, everybody gave him shit for it, was our season was over in Atlanta. That was where our season ended. And everybody's like, oh, he shouldn't have said that. Well, it's true. You go to a bowl game with half of your starting lineup, like, what do you expect?
Yeah. Right. So
I don't know. To me, like, if it was money, though, if all this is for money, which we know it is, everything in the world operates off of money. Yeah. Why not just do 16 games instead of 12? Then you don't have to do the unfair first round bye. You could still give them home field advantage to the top 8 of the 16 teams. You could still do that. You end up with more playoff games, which is more money, and you lose the advantage of having the buys.
So ultimately, I think that's where they will go. Not immediately, but like this is not going to stop, right? I mean, the college basketball tournament has 68 teams in the tournament, and there's 130 D1 programs. It's like, really? It's insane. So,
well, another thing that I heard, one of the reasons they didn't go to a big playoff is because you have Christmas that comes up between those games.
Finals and all that stuff.
If they're in playoff games and stuff, they're not going to be able to go home.
Yeah.
They got finals and all that shit. But they need to start paying these fucking kids to play.
That was the next thing. So some of these teams, depending on how deep they go into the playoffs, if they have to play that first round game, if they're a 5 through 12 and they don't get the bye, they could potentially play 17 games with a conference championship. That's an NFL schedule. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
The amount of money that a big college, especially like a Florida or Alabama, like these big NCAA teams, the amount of money that they make is ridiculous, and their professors aren't paid a whole
For
lot of
for
money.
some schools, yes.
Like some of
The
their
bigger
upper,
schools, yes.
yeah,
Most
some of
athletic
their,
departments lose money, but you're right. The big schools are just money printers. I mean, they're just like, money printer go burr.
Yeah.
They just print what they just make as much money as they want.
A school like Alabama makes so much money off their football program that they probably could get away with not charging tuition. Like their football program makes a shit ton of money, and I'm not one of those preschool guys,
and
but
that's not just
the players should be getting something for putting their bodies at risk, and what they are getting paid out of scholarships to play is not an equivalent to what they're putting their body through and all the amount of training.
Well, this is what pisses me off about the NCAA. Like these kids, people are buying. Like I was one of them. I bought a Danny Werfel jersey, a Tebow jersey, a Percy Harvin's jersey. Them kids don't get any of that fucking money.
Yeah,
NCAA gets it, and so does the
So
school.
that is actually something that's on the table. That's something on the table right now is called NIL. It stands for name, image, and likeness. There is currently a proposal. I don't know like when it could potentially get approved or not approved or whatever, but NIL is a thing now, and players are potentially going to be able to profit off of their name, image, and likeness. So I think that's a start. I don't think.
And they can start by making the fucking football game college football.
Yeah,
giving these kids some fucking
and putting
money
putting the real players' names in it and stuff instead of just RB number 5.
Yes.
God
damn.
And the thing is, though, is where would the money come from, though? Because if you can't, it's a really slippery slope. I mean, I hear you guys, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm not saying there's not even a right or a wrong answer. It's difficult because what about the softball players? What about the gymnasts or the swimmers? Like, they
should all be making.
Give them the same likeness.
That's fine. I'm not talking about NIL. I'm talking about actually paying the players. Like, where does that money come from? Because like I said, most athletic departments don't make money. Men's basketball and football fund everything.
They don't have to. They don't have to physically pay them. Like the schools don't have to pay them, but they should have the opportunity to make.
Yeah, you're saying to be able to get endorsements and stuff.
Like just open it up and say, okay, well, if you want to sell your merch, if you want to sell this. It's not illegal.
Right. I agree with that. Totally.
If you got a sponsor, if Gatorade or Nike says, "Hey, we want to sponsor this kid," okay, he still has to wear the school's, shit, but he can be, be up on a commercial or something for Nike.
About 10 years ago,
if the school's going to sell your jersey, you should get a percentage of that jersey.
About 10 years ago, there was a
regardless of you should get something off the top.
So, I think it's been about 10 years, maybe more. It's hard to tell. Time just freaking flies now. But there was a Colorado football player, I believe. And he also was I want to say he was like a professional, downhill skier. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And he had endorsements.
Was he a professional?
Well, I meant skiing instead of water skiing, whatever. And not a water sport, it was a snowing thing. But the NCAA basically said, look, you can profit from, you can be a professional in skiing, but you can't play football at Colorado at the same time. As soon as you take money, you'll be ineligible. And it's it's a totally different sport, dude.
Fucking thing.
Are you basically telling these players they can't have jobs? I mean, it's really crazy.
It's stupid.
I was gonna say, let's get back to the playoff real quick. So overall, Jeff, you're totally for it.
Oh yeah, more games. I'm all for it.
I would have preferred they went to 6 because then 1 and 2 would have gotten a bye, and because I believe college football has the best regular season in all of sports, and
every game matters.
Every game truly matters, and I hate the idea of a number 12 team having 3 losses and then just getting hot at the right time. But here's the thing: if they beat the number 1 team and then potentially the number 2 team and whatever, could you argue that they didn't deserve it? And it's it's
if you win the games when it matters, I mean that's really all that matters in sports, period.
Yeah.
You have to win games when it fucking matters.
The Giants in 2007, I believe. No, I don't remember what year it was, but
Those things
2011 or something.
Something like that.
Yeah. The Giants were 9-7 in the regular season, went to the playoffs, and beat the Patriots, and that was the Patriots' only loss of the season was in the Super Bowl. And it's the Patriots are clearly the best team in the nation that year, or the NFL that year.
They stopped them from beating Miami's record for going undefeated.
Yeah, right.
But
anyway,
but that's my
again,
whole argument against the buys too. Like, if you're really the best team, you don't need the buy.
I'm still like confused about what your issue with the buys is. Like, you don't think that the teams have earned that? Like, certain teams,
It
like,
doesn't matter because
their reward.
The whole thing is like, if you're the best, you don't need the buy. You don't need it. That's like saying,
it all depends
I'm
on
the best
how many
fighter in
teams
the
you
world,
have,
but I want you to tie one hand behind your back. Like, if you're the best fighter in the world, you don't need it.
Here's a scenario. There's been NFL games where they'll take a loss, like a gimme loss, again, because if they've already locked up a spot, like they'll pull all the players
I'm
out.
afraid that's going to happen to college.
They'll pull all their players, like good players, out so they don't get hurt, because they know, okay, even if we lose this game, it doesn't fucking matter. But if you've got a spot to where, okay, well, if we win this game, we'll get a bye.
We get home field.
That's why I say I like the idea of you give the top X amount of teams, give them home field advantage or something. They're at least still playing the game. They're expending energy. They're taking all the same risks that every other team in the playoffs is having to take. Give them the perk of home field advantage, but I think letting them rest an extra week is giving them an unfair advantage against any team.
Well, look at this, though. I think it was the year we played. I think it was Notre Dame. Like, from the time that they have, because Notre Dame doesn't have a conference championship.
I forgot to talk about them. They couldn't be ranked higher than 5th because they're not in a conference.
Yeah, they don't have a conference championship game.
They could never get a bye.
Yeah.
They could get a home playoff game, but they could never get a bye
because they don't play a conference championship, so they're automatically in it.
They play like the service academies and shit.
They play shitty teams,
right.
But they're going to be in the fucking playoff, which is bullshit.
Now, last year they joined the ACC for 1 year and they went to the title game, and it's like, you play a real. Yeah, it's like, why don't you guys have proven you can do it?
That's actually, so it's my biggest complaint with NCAA versus NFL is there are so many teams in college football that they can never all play each other. So it's impossible. There's no way they could do it. Like, they could not play enough games in a week to make that happen.
And last year was really interesting because there were no non-conference games in the regular season, right? So when we got to bowl season, people were like, we don't know what to expect. We think Alabama and Clemson and Notre Dame and Ohio State are good, but we don't know, because like they haven't played any out-of-conference games.
6 fucking games last year.
Yeah, Ohio State shouldn't even been there, dude.
At all.
It's bullshit.
There's in college football, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of the big teams will have a lot of games where they're playing no-name teams.
About two games out of the season are shitty teams.
College football,
they usually have 2 cupcake games and 1 Power 5 non-conference, and then the rest are conference games.
I think that college football would benefit from being split up and take your bottom of the list, your bottom 50%, put them in their own league. And then
I would do exactly what the soccer teams do and relegate teams. If you don't perform, you get fucking sent down to the lower leagues, and
that's
then
that's
the
what
lower
I mean.
teams that do good,
and
they
then,
go
like,
up.
Your top couple of teams maybe have a playoff against the bottom teams from the other league and fight for which league they're in. And if you want to be in the good league,
that's how the NFL was back in the day. Back in the 70s
when it was the AFL and NFL.
Yeah, or whatever. What was it, the All-American Football League or something like that?
But do something, because the problem is, like,
before my time.
The one easy thing about the NFL is there's not a whole lot of teams, so realistically every team can play every team at least once, and it has a much lower cost of time to invest yourself in NFL football. I can pick a team or two that I like, and I can follow everything about them every year and be totally fine. With college football, the rosters change so much across how many teams? Over 100?
Oh, God, yeah.
130 D1 teams. That's not even counting,
the cost
FCS.
The cost of time investment to really, truly become an invested college football fan is so much higher than that of the NFL that I will watch college football and I will have fun watching it, but I will never... I couldn't invest the amount of time that you guys invested.
This is why I like college more than NFL, even though I'm wearing a fucking NFL jersey. Tebow, by the way. Is because the kids in college, they're trying to make it to the NFL. Like, they're giving their blood, sweat, and tears.
There's a lot more passion for the game in college
because
than
they're
it is
wanting
in the
to
NFL.
make it to the next league, because it's like hitting the fucking lottery. As soon as they sign that contract, boom, it's life changing.
Yeah, it's their dreams.
And it just seems like NFL, they still play hard, they're tough, but you know, it's almost like when they get to the NFL, it stops being about the game and more about money.
It's like they've already won, and now it's just an exhibition.
That's it. Well,
yeah.
I'm hurt.
It's more of a job
I'm
than a
not
dream.
playing. I pulled my ACL, or not ACL, but I'm a serious injury.
Right.
But you know, like I pulled a muscle, I can't play. When you got these fucking kids,
I strained
in college,
my ego.
like getting their heads ripped off and be like, no, I still want to play. You know, like it just means more. It seems to mean more to them.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, I see both arguments. Yeah,
like college football is fun to watch, but it's hard to invest into a team because there's so much extra time involved.
Well, you say extra time, but that's part of the excitement for me is like seeing these recruits. You know, you follow a team and you'll see like on my Google News feed. That's where I get all my news. Like it'll pop up like, oh, this recruit's, you know, thinking about going to Florida. And then so I'll get on there and look at his high school, you know, his stats and they'll have videos of him and shit. Like, damn, I hope we get this kid.
With recruiting is
and
fun
then like Alabama will come in and
dive into it.
Like, fuck. So when we play Alabama, like, you motherfuckers should have been to Florida. You know what I mean? Like, so it's all part of it. I mean, I love it, man. I love college football with all my heart.
Yeah, same here. It's just like I've been to an NFL game and I've been to the Saints and Browns of all teams. It was a weird matchup, but the NFL, you're watching a spectacle. You're watching an event. They had fucking fireworks inside the Superdome, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, it was and college is much more of a yeah. And plus, dude, the NFL, they cranked those games out, dude. The 2 hour mark had just passed and the fourth quarter was almost over, and I'm like, good lord, like a college football is like, you better get strapped in for 4 hours, man.
You got that halftime show, the band's coming out.
Yeah. Anyway, we can talk about football forever. Let's talk about Loki. I know last week I kind of gave you guys my thoughts on the first episode.
I just want to let you know that was the most Loki segue you've ever made.
Really? How was it? Like I just like
Loki, get it?
Oh. No, I don't get it. I'm not used to Brian making jokes. I'm not used to Brian trying to be funny. So I just, you know. Anyway, I've watched the second one. I know you guys have too. Tell me your thoughts on just the show overall and kind of where you think things may be going, and let's get it.
So I'll start. I actually just watched the second episode yesterday. I like it. I enjoy it. Anything Marvel putting out right now is just really good in my opinion. I told y'all before, I think it was last week, I got really big Fallout vibes just from the whole futuristic, like the computers and stuff. Yeah.
Like the futuristic old tech.
The little
the
Pit Boys and stuff.
The two is really
cool. It's art deco computer tech. You know?
Yeah. It's like the Vault Boy or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But I like where they're going with it. I mean, y'all are more into like the comics and stuff. Like I think I've read one comic in my life. But are we doing spoilers? I mean,
I mean, no one watches this, so you're good. Go ahead.
So at the end of this last episode, when it showed that it was the chick, and I'm thinking like, who's this? Because this isn't all the images they showed of Loki. You know, the different Lokis, like he was never a female, and they all looked like him. I'm kind of confused of where this chick is getting.
So there definitely is there definitely is a female Loki in the comics. I'll just say that.
So in the comics, there's I want to say it's when Ragnarok happens. All of the Asgardians, besides for Thor, die, and he actually goes on a journey to try to find some of the Asgardians because in the comic book,
Loki does or Thor?
Thor does.
Okay.
Like Loki, Odin, Sif, like Lady Sif.
Thor's the only one left. They're all dead.
Like
Thor Loki died too?
Yeah, Thor is the only survivor of Ragnarok in the comics back in like 2013. And he goes on a quest to try to find any Asgardians that are being reincarnated because that's like part of the comic book lore is they can actually be reborn. And through all of that, he actually finds what he thinks is Lady Sif, which was always kind of his heartthrob in that era of the comics. And the body...
Wait. Lady Sif, isn't that his mom?
No.
Who's his mom?
Frigga.
Frigga, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he finds who he thinks is Lady Sif.
And who is that? Explain to me.
That's she is the female.
She's the chick in the
warrior
first
that's
one
in the
that
first
follows
Thor
all
movie.
the. That's
Not Natalie Portman, but the Asgardian that's with them.
The one that
you know,
flies
his
the
three-
horses?
No, that's Valkyrie. So in the very first Thor, he has those 3 dudes that follow him around, right? The big like hulking dude with the axe, and like the Asian dude, and like the guy with the sword or whatever. There's also
This chick.
Sif. She's actually really she's
okay.
awesome.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, the body, he finds who he thinks is the reincarnated version of her, but instead of Lady Sif getting the body, somehow Loki got it. And so he was in this like hot dark-haired woman's body now.
The Thor wanted to pork.
Yeah. And so like Loki actually plays some tricks on him at first, but that's the first incarnation of Lady Loki.
Oh, okay.
At least in the
And,
comics. I mean,
yeah.
like a female version of Loki is actually straight up from Norse mythology. Like Loki, he's gender fluid. Before gender fluid was cool. I mean, like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
But
So that makes more sense now.
yeah, so I mean, it does happen in the Marvel comic line at least. And there's been a couple different versions of him, and like in the more recent comics, he actually is a child still. I say recent comics. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. He was a child. I don't remember
So
why.
he was a child in this chick's body, like mentality wise, or he was
No,
a child?
his essence, like his spirit, was still like aged.
growing.
No, like whenever he was in the female body, is basically the same being but in a different body.
Okay.
Like he
So
got
what
a
are you
new
talking
body.
about? He's a kid.
No, so that's a different comic book line from 4 or 5 years ago. For something happened in the Asgardian universe, and some people, including Loki, were kind of reborn as children,
Okay.
but still were like old people in a child's body, if that makes sense. Like,
They retain their
still knew
memories and
everything.
stuff from their like
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's like their body is reborn. but
Ragnarok
they're
is
still the
basically
same
a
person.
Ragnarok is basically a cycle. Like it repeats itself every time Asgard gets too powerful or whatever, and then they
Right.
basically reset. That's my understanding
Yeah.
of it, anyway.
Yeah, but like their spirits all kind of persist through that and get new bodies.
Okay.
It's like a weird version of reincarnation.
Yeah. Now,
Um,
Brian, go ahead. What are your thoughts on just the show overall and kind of, you know?
So the show does a couple of things I really love great. And that is, I love shows that really dive into lore. And so I feel like the show, the pacing of it is really good in that it dives into things in enough detail to like really get me interested. But it also
But it's
does
just a
not do it
taste.
to the
It's just enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't do it to the point where it's boring because nothing's happening. Because a
Right.
lot of shows, like, they will go really, really deep into detail on lore, but you're like falling asleep because there's no action or comedy mixed in.
Yeah.
And I feel like Loki has done a really good job of giving you that background in an interesting way without giving you too much at one time, so that they're kind of interweaving.
Yeah, they explain the
comedy and
multiverse
action
war
with
and the
it.
timekeepers and everything, but it's like, well, we want to know more about that. Oh, we don't have time for that. You know, it's like,
Did you guys
you know.
catch the Stan Lee cameo in the first
yeah,
episode, by
he's
the way?
standing on the mural or whatever,
No, I
the
didn't.
painting.
Yeah, he's one of the guys in the mural that have the sashes.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, he's in the front of the group with his mustache and shades on.
I thought I saw
watch
Peggy Carter too in the
rewatched
background getting dragged around by one of them. It looks just like
Yeah.
the chick, Haley Atwell.
They did look like her. I saw that too.
There's a scroll
But,
too, right when Loki walks in the very first time he goes in there. There's a scroll like just standing there getting like processed or whatever. So there's so much to visualize, like just visuals in this show. To just
Can we talk about how good Owen Wilson is doing?
Oh my god,
Oh, he's
dude!
doing
Wow, yeah, he's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
He's so good. Like, go ahead.
His
go ahead,
speech
Brian.
about jet skis is perfect.
Yeah.
I never really thought of jet skis that way, and then when he mentions it, it's like there was like a 5-year period where
Yeah.
the perfect blend of human, like, you know, ingenuity and engineering and stuff molded together into a jet ski, and I'm like, holy crap, that's exactly what they are, you know.
Yeah.
And for someone who's been there for who knows how long, I mean, he's basically timeless. His name is Mobius, and I mean, I don't know if you guys know what a Mobius strip is, but it's basically just an infinite loop of itself, you know. So yeah, I mean, his character is, I thought it was cool how he just completely just disarms Loki in the very first episode.
Yeah,
Just sort of like, hey, do you enjoy hurting people? You know, and we've never seen that side of Loki, especially that version of Loki, because he hasn't become good yet. You know,
I was gonna say you kind of they did a really good job of convincingly stripping him down to nothing,
Making him wear the jacket.
Yeah, like
yeah, that was funny. She made him turn around
they,
and it said Variant on it, and she's like, "All right, just so you know where you stand."
Yeah, because they totally flipped the script. Because if you think back to like, I think it was the first Thor movie. Whenever he's like at the museum and he makes himself like bigger than everyone else, like living out the god life and never questioning whether he's the strongest person in the room or not, to being like, is this the strongest power in the universe?
Right. Yeah.
When he sees the
And like
stones.
he's like completely bewildered by his surroundings, and like everyone there scares the shit out of him. And I think it was really cool. And
it's funny because they're all terrified of
the
him
acting
too.
is fantastic.
You know.
Yeah, but not necessarily of him, but like what he is potentially capable of.
Yeah,
he just hasn't figured out yet.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, like the whole like. And they're totally playing him with the whole, like, the greater and lesser Loki thing. He's like, no, I'm the best Loki, and I'm going to fucking prove it. Like,
or when he was in the tent, and he was like, no, can't go outside.
He's outside waiting for you. I was like, come on, Owen, don't fall for this.
He was like,
you know?
Yeah, there's nobody outside.
Yeah. He's thought about it. He gave it a good 5 seconds. He's like, nope, playing games. Like,
he's like, my ears so too.
I'm not convinced that's female Loki, though. I'm just going to go on record. I'm not convinced.
So
I'm not. I think it's someone else from, well, I don't think it's
Mephisto.
Yeah, Mephisto train, man. No, I don't think it's Lady Loki. I don't know if it's straight up Enchantress. They may be combining those two characters together because her powers are basically look like Enchantress, like the way that she sort of, takes people over and stuff and kind of, changes their mind a little bit.
Yeah, because he even talks about he's like enchantment spells.
Right, but did you notice that when he was going between the people and stuff, and Randy, I think his name was, the employee or whatever, Loki is like talking to him and he calls him Loki, and the dude's like, don't call me that. Like, I think that was literally their way of saying this is not Loki. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah. I don't know. I the thing that draws me back to Mephisto, and they might have been trying to mislead people there, is whenever he goes back and he to the church and the little kid has the bubble gum, and he's like, who did this? And he points up to the stained glass of the devil or Satan or whatever. I was like, this is, they're trying to indicate it's Mephisto, or at least get the people that know who Mephisto is.
But I think they were just talking about his horns and stuff,
Yeah, the little clock guy also, though, for whatever reason, just gives me a Mephisto.
Miss Minutes.
Like, yeah,
she's hilarious, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and I could see them doing an interesting gender bend on Mephisto. Like, Mephisto is such a cool character.
Right. Well, we got to, in many different iterations and stuff, the devil's a shapeshifter anyway, and we know Loki is anyway. So who's to say that this blonde chick is even the real form anyway? We don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't. Y'all are missing me with all this Mephisto.
Mephisto is basically the Marvel version of the devil. Like he's the devil in Marvel comics.
So here's the other thought of who it could be. Because people have already been asking, like, who's going to be the next big bad now that Thanos is gone? And one of the leading rumors has been, like, why not Kang the Conqueror?
Yeah, there's a lot of Kang nods, a lot of Kang subtlety in these two episodes.
Kang the Conqueror is all about time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, time travel and stuff. And this whole series is about time. Like, could he be who the time council or whatever, like, beat to turn things into this holy timeline, and he's trying to break loose?
One of the timekeepers, the one in the middle, basically is wearing his helmet and has the blue face and everything, and the character that her name is always crazy to pronounce. It's Gugu Mbatha-Raw, the one that is like the bureaucrat that sits behind.
Like a song from the 60s.
Yeah, she's the one that sits behind the desk and is always like talking to Owen Wilson and stuff. Her character is tied to Kang. They're like romantically involved in the comics and stuff. And she's always sitting right in front of that middle one in her office and stuff. And like at the judgment thing, in the first episode, she's sitting in front of the middle one, and that dude looks just like Kang. Now I don't know if they're just sort of like winking at the audience there or what, but Kang's going to be in Ant-Man 3. It's confirmed, you know, so we will see him at some point.
This could be an intro to him.
Yeah, we will see him at some point, and he can pop in and out. That's what makes him such a cool villain. Is he's like Thanos is all about like brute strength and just sort of like a conquering villain, whereas it's funny because Kang is called the Conqueror, but Kang is much more cerebral, and he's not really a fighter. Like he just sort of like he pops in and out.
That's
you know?
I could argue against that though. I feel like that's really where they got Thanos wrong in the movies. Is in the
I'm talking about just purely in the MCU, like you know his iteration of it.
In MCU, yes, but like the comic iterations of him from like Cosmic Marvel in 2000
with the energy blast and all that stuff.
11 or 13, whenever they do the Annihilation Saga, like Thanos is typically he's like 12 steps ahead of everyone.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's really.
They
he's
did
very
not
smart.
do that with him in the movies. He's just kind of he was like the Juggernaut, like he was the Hulk with a brain.
He's a good villain though. I mean, he was terrifying in those
those
movies. I mean, especially the first one.
I rewatched that. I think it was last week. Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck did they not utilize Ant-Man more when he's like 500 foot tall?
Yeah.
Like he could have just walked through and just smushed
just stomped on Thanos.
All he really did was like punch one of the flying things,
Yeah.
and then zip over to the fucking Batmobile. You know, it's like, dude, you could have utilized him way better.
It's like Lord of the Rings. Take the Eagles, drop the ring into the Mordor, and get the fuck out. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, honestly though, even in the comic books, like when he can become Giant Man, like he isn't really utilized much because he's not actually that strong when he's big.
Yeah.
He's just slow and like.
But goddamn, you know, he weighs so much. All you gotta do is step on him.
Yeah.
Just
flick him.
The coolest iteration of him, actually. I know you haven't read the comics, but Colby, have you ever read Marvel Zombies?
No, I know.
Oh, man.
I know of it. I know some of the details. I've never actually read it.
Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
So they did a cool like alternate universe series.
Captain
of
America's pretty
called
cool.
Marvel's, called Marvel Zombies, and it's basically a what if universe of like what if a zombie plague happened in the Marvel universe, and like the heroes are all becoming zombies, and like if they get bit, they turn into a zombie, but they maintain their powers. So like when Ant-Man gets infected, he turns into Giant Man, and like he's just fucking eating people whole.
Like Attack on Titan and shit.
He's rampaging through cities, just swallowing people. And
that's terrifying, dude. Jesus.
Does he poop them out? Zombies?
What?
Does he shit them out when they turn to zombies?
Well, that's actually one of the crazy things is like he actually does eat enough people where bodies like kind of burst out of his stomach.
Isn't it weird how zombies can wear pants? Damn. Like they're all so emaciated, they should all be walking around with their pants around their ankles, like tripping and shit. Like
lost all their weight.
It's kind of cool. Like they
were all wearing belts that day.
Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Is in it. He teams up with Howard the Duck. And
shit.
Howard the Duck's in Endgame.
Like
he's
two
in
of
a
the
couple
people
others
powering
too.
this.
Yeah.
But
I'm waiting for them to come out with a movie. Man.
Seth Green is the voice.
I loved the fucking movie when I was a kid.
I used to watch the shit out of that movie, dude. Cleveland.
And Marvel Zombies is so crazy that they eventually, like, it spreads throughout the whole universe. Like, they eat all living things to where only the zombies are left. And they find a way to get to another Marvel universe to start eating people there.
Jesus.
So, like, a portal shows up and, like, all the Marvel zombie guys come out onto, like, their version of Earth and start fighting all of the like normal versions of themselves and converting more people into zombies and stuff. It's wild because Pym is one of the leaders of the Marvel zombies because they're still sentient but they're hungry. So like they still talk.
It's kind of like the zombies in Army of the Dead. You know, did you guys watch that on Netflix?
Yeah,
it was alright, but it's definitely a cool take on.
Well, not the newest, not the new one. I was thinking of Army of Darkness. You said that.
I was thinking of that fucking one zombie movie where the zombie falls in love with the chick and then, like love brings him out.
Yeah,
I Heart Zombie or what was that?
It's a Romeo and Juliet like it's hidden as Romeo and Juliet thing.
What's his name from Hot Tub Time Machine?
What's it called?
Rob Corddry.
It's like
whatever.
Warm Bodies. Is that it? Yeah.
Warm Bodies. That's it.
But no.
That was actually a really good movie.
Yeah,
Man.
and when you find out, when you actually realize it's Romeo and Juliet, it's like, okay, it's a twist.
Sense.
Army of the Dead is actually really, it's a Zack Snyder movie, so again, we can talk about that for hours. But he's an actor, dude. Batista can act. Like, he's really underrated. It's worth checking out.
I felt like he could not act in the wrestling ring.
Yeah. Well, it's because the scripts are just horrible. Like, it's not like they're working with anything to actually.
Well, I mean, he was bad at like the fighting acting too. Like, I remember fights where like
he's not a good fighter. Like
someone
I watched him do an MMA fight, and he fought this fat.
I've seen that.
This dude was more out of shape than me.
Him the fuck out.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, dude,
you guys should check.
Batista can't fight.
You guys should check it out. I won't give anything away, but like, they're not your typical like zombies. There's a reason why they are the way they are, and it's a zombie heist film. It's a cool kind of mishmash of stuff. It's worth checking out.
Yeah, I've seen it on Netflix. I just haven't watched it.
But yeah, anyways, with Loki, I really like the show. I want to see more. I am not a big fan of the whole female Loki twist that they try to throw in. So we'll see if that's like just
a misdirect or something
or not. Yeah. No offense to the actress, it just wasn't like when they showed her, I was like, I don't feel like we're gonna see more of her.
The line she delivered was a little.
She didn't have a lot of.
The line she delivered was a little weak, But one thing that was kind of cool is like, I guess she has some kind of telepathy power, because like real Loki's not actually saying anything, but you hear him like in her head. You hear him say something about like, "What is this about?" It's like whispered, and she says, "This is not about you." And the line was just a little weird the way she delivered it, but maybe something will happen. I mean, they're doing the Falcon and Winter Soldier thing. There's only 6 episodes, so there's not going to be much dicking around with this. Like, they're going to get right to it,
You said there's only 6?
Yeah, there's 4 more. So.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I do like the fact they're longer episodes, though,
It's kind of like, maybe you've noticed this now that you've started watching animes. But in an anime,
actually, it's pronounced anime. There's no S and anyway, go ahead.
Whatever. In an anime, and it's like this in a lot of TV shows too. As soon as you meet a character in an anime, you know if they're important or not based on their look.
Yeah.
Like, when you see them, you're like, okay, they're going to be here for 30 seconds. Or you see them and you're like, okay, we're going to see them for the rest of the show. And her look and the way she delivered her lines, I did not feel like she's someone we're going to see long term.
The costume felt like something you would see at just like a costume convention, It wasn't...
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not... No offense to the, costume coordinator or anything, but it felt a little... It felt like her character was actually wearing a costume. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the actress wearing a costume, it felt like the character was. So maybe that's intentional.
Well, here's my question. Why would the, Owen Wilson, their little society, say that is Loki? Like, if it's not. Because they all refer to her as Loki.
She's wearing his getup.
Right.
And they may have made assumptions based
Well,
off that.
remember the very first episode, he goes through this like temporal aura machine, and I guess that's some kind of like time fingerprint or something. They didn't really explain. You're right. They did not explain how, unless I missed it, like how they know that person's Loki. But
I think that they alluded to it. Though,
maybe they did.
When Loki explained the difference between his 2 different forms of projection, and they were like, "What do you mean? There's 2 different kinds? What's the difference?"
Right.
And he explained it. I was like, maybe this is someone altering themselves to look like Loki in some way, because he said like I can make a copy of myself down to the molecular level, and he's actually, I think, done illusions in the past of things that were not him.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Anyways, I do not expect to see that person be Loki throughout the rest of the show.
Well, to me, like, that person's definitely not the big bad. I mean, the timekeepers, if they even exist anymore, or if they ever did, like, I think this is like a man behind the curtain situation. Like this
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, this TVA to me is just like a cult that's basically just been carrying out the like doctrine of the leaders that they thought. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think the timekeepers are around anymore. or if they are, they're not those 3 like space lizards they made them out to be.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's King the Conqueror and 2 other people. And they've conquered the rest of time, and now only the timeline that he dictates exists.
Yeah, right.
I do like how Owen Wilson explained like the whole religion thing. Like, when Loki's
that
like,
was
that
cool.
doesn't make any sense. You got lizards, and he's like,
right.
Where do you come from? And he explains, he's like, well, see,
a frost giant. He's like, listen. He's like, listen. He's like, listen to yourself. Like, yeah,
which is true. You know, it's like all religions sound ridiculous
to
if
other
you
people.
break it down and look at it. You know, like if you don't believe in it, then you're like, yeah, you're crazy. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of different directions they can go.
I do like how it was like he threw that in there. Like, listen, just because you don't believe it doesn't make it not true.
Right.
Yeah. But I want to see more.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? I'm going to ask you guys about something.
No, I think we covered it.
I'm excited for next week.
Yep.
So, my little brother Kevin, Fallout 76 was like free to play last weekend and throughout this week, and I've heard so many shitty things about that game, but I loved all of the Fallouts up through 3 at least. I wasn't a big fan of New Vegas or 4.
See, I love New Vegas.
I've only played 3. Don't at me.
New Vegas was okay. New Vegas wasn't bad. I didn't invest a lot of time in it like I did 3. And 4, the story kind of sucked. But with Fallout 76, he was like, yeah, this game's so much fun. It's just like Fallout, but online and blah, 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 blah.
It's a totally different type of like it's like a top-down kind of thing, isn't it? Or more like a different view?
Fallout 76 is still first person.
What am I thinking of?
It's massively online.
It's PvP.
Okay, I'm thinking of something else.
You're thinking of the older Fallouts. Fallout 1, 2, and Tactics were all overhead like Diablo.
Like the original Grand Theft Autos.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
But anyways, Fallout 76 is like basically it plays like Fallout 3, but it's online multiplayer. Like massive multiplayer. Which sounds fun because Fallout 3 was great, but the game kind of throws you into the mix. Like, you're just a random vault dweller, and they're like, go find your overseer that left. And that's literally all they say. Like, I'm not exaggerating the briefness of that. It's go find the overseer. And gives you no, story elements at all to get you excited to play.
Right.
So I was like, I can't get into this. And I was going to ask you, does Conan do something? Because I know it's also super, a lot of people playing online. Yeah. Does it do anything to actually get you to, invested in the story to want to play more? Or does it just throw you into this world and you go
You watch the epilogue? They tell you about basically what's going on. Conan brings you back to life. Well, you start off, with nothing. I mean, I'm talking about nothing except a pair of underwear. And y'all have played Ark, right?
Yeah.
It's very similar to Ark. Now, me, my nephew, Chris, and my buddy, Nick, we've been playing on, they've got all these different servers. They have PvP server, PvPE, I think that's what they call it, where it's basically you can build,
you can choose
your structure, your home, and there's only certain times, maybe on the weekends, that you can attack other players.
Right. It's during certain hours.
Yeah. And then the PvE server, which we play on, because you don't have to fucking worry about, people coming in, stealing all your shit, killing all your animals and thralls and shit. But what's really cool about this is you actually have, it's not really quest lines. I mean, there is an end game. You can beat the game. You have a bracelet, like you do with the stone and Ark. But if you beat all these bosses around this map, which is fucking gigantic, by the way, you can get that taken off. Now, when you get it taken off, you beat the game. They'll ask you, do you want to start a new game, or do you want to continue being free in this world? Which we haven't even got that far in the game. But what I like about it is there's bosses all over the place that you can go fight, and there's all these tribes and stuff you can go fight, and you can actually take a club and beat the hell out of them, knock them out, and then take them back to what they call the Wheel of Pain, and put them on it, and it, like on Conan, he's pushing the fucking thing in a circle, and you break them until they're part of your tribe. And there's different levels. There's archer 1, 2, 3, and then a named archer. You know, the named archer is like got the best stats. But it's unlimited. Like you can build a base that covers the whole fucking map if you want to, you know. But they have a purge meter that fills up, and depending on your rank and how much shit you have, it fills up fast. Right. And whenever that purge meter fills up, the game itself sends fucking bosses to your base. Like with tribes, and it's like it can be up to like 11 rounds.
Jesus.
So not last night, but the night before we're on, and our purge meter was full, so we knew it was coming. It comes if your purge meter's filled, it comes between 6 and 10 o'clock at night. So we're on, and then all of a sudden you hear the fucking horn, and it says this tribe is looking, you know, scouting your base, and so you'll go to the map because you can build bases all over the map, and it'll have a red X on wherever they're going to attack, and you have 10 minutes to get there to defend your fucking base.
Oh shit!
So we have an X on our base, and we're like, "Fuck, dude!" And when it comes up, it says frost giants are scouting your base. We're like,
it's Loki.
So, yeah. So, and we've already moved bases like 3 times. Like we build our starter base, and then you get all the materials there, and they're like, "Fuck, man, I need material from this section of the map." So we built a better base with better material and shit at this section of the map. So we've got all the best equipment and shit. But since we moved up there, it's a harder section of the map, so the purges are harder. So when it said frost giants, we're like, motherfuck, dude, we don't know what's gonna come, but some giants are gonna fucking come, you know. So the first wave had fucking just regular thralls, which are like tribe people, and saber-toothed tigers, which are one of the hardest animals to fight in the game. The second wave was more of those, more saber-tooths. Then the third one was a woolly mammoth and more of those guys. The fourth wave was 2 fucking frost giants and 3 woolly mammoths that you had to fight. And when I'm talking about these fucking woolly mammoths, they'll go back on their hind legs and hit the ground, and you fly like 10 feet up in the air. Like it don't matter if you got your shield out and blocking. Badass. I mean, it just
the frost giants are bigger than they are.
Yeah, the frost giants are bigger than they are. I'm talking about
Jesus.
Like if your guy's this big on the screen, the frost giants are like up here.
Oh my god,
like
that's crazy.
And they have like these 25 big old feet tall, double-bladed battle.
So you're like the size of their foot.
Yeah, and what their main objective is not only kill you, but kill all your pets, because you can tame pets. You go around getting baby tigers and lions and gorillas. I mean, just you name it. Which is also a really cool aspect of the game, because once you put the animals you build a pen for them, an animal pen, and once you put them in there, you got to feed them certain food, and if you feed them the right food, you'll get greater animals, like a greater lion, which is like a fucking huge lion with like glowing eyes, and it's like that for all the animals.
It's crazy.
So,
and then they'll fight with you and stuff.
Yeah, you can ride one horse or a rhino. You can actually ride rhinos.
Rhino.
Yeah.
That's bad.
And have one follower, whether it's be a pet or an archer, a fighter, anything like that. But when they send that fucking purge, their thing is they try to kill all your animals, all your followers, all your pets, and then knock down your fucking buildings. And when these frost giants hit your building, if you've got just the basic like stone, they call it sandstone, which is like looks like bricks. One swipe and they're fucking knocking your walls down. They're knocking your foundations down. All the little things inside, because you can build blacksmithing, smithies, tanneries. I mean, it's so much detail in this fucking game. It's ridiculous. But if they tear your shit up, it's gone. Like, it doesn't just come up and, okay, well, they tore it up, but I still get all my shit in it. No, if you've got that fucking tannery full of fucking skins that you've done skinned and everything, it's gone. But it's, dude, I'm addicted.
Sounds fun.
There's a
Sounds
game. Cool. Have you played The Forest?
Mm-mm.
Have you seen The Forest?
No.
Have you heard of it, Colby?
Mm-mm.
That'd be a fun game for us to play online. It's up to 8 players. It's a first-person view survival game where you start off like you're on a flight with your son, and the plane gets turbulence in flight and crash lands on this island. And when you wake up, you're still strapped into your seat, and there's this dude covered in blood, naked, is basically grabbing your son and leaving.
Damn, dude.
Shit.
And so, like, you're strapped into the seat and you kind of pass out and wake up, and, like, everyone else in the plane is dead. And you are on this island in a forest. And you've got to survive. But there's all these, like, crazy cannibals that live on the island that don't speak English, like, and they're all naked. They're all, like, they cover themselves in blood, and they're just fucking crazy. But you have to, like, build a shelter, build a fire. But if you're anywhere near where any of their houses are, like, they'll follow you, and, like, you'll find them, like, stalking you in the woods, like an animal would.
Damn.
And so, like, you'll turn around and you'll see, like, 50 foot away, like, kind of looking out from behind a tree, a fucking cannibal watching you.
Dude, like, what the fuck are you? You all love these games, dude.
It is so
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
But then when you
go
find,
play Animal Crossing. I mean,
when
God
you
damn.
find where their tribe lives, like, you find, like, the cannibal village.
Why did you put
When
that
I
in
say
quotes?
cannibals, I mean, like, these guys look
Are you
demonic
implying they're not
because-
cannibals, or it's not a village?
No, I'd say village because it's like all straw huts and stuff.
Okay.
But whenever you find them, their village, they're like, you know, there's other passengers hanging. Like, they've smashed tennis rackets over people's heads, and, like, they're all, like, they've all got tennis rackets around their heads.
It sounds like a
Crazy
game for
shit.
a 6-year-old son.
But then you have no weapons for any of this, right? So, like, you've got to figure out how to make axes with stone and, like, to cut down trees to build a house and do all this shit. But at night, these guys will attack your house. So, like, you eventually you get to where you can make tree houses to, like, camp up above the ground, but, like, you'll hear them, like, you'll just hear running in the darkness around, like, because it's pitch black. Like,
What's this called?
The forest.
The Force. I have to look it up.
But it's
I
up
just
to eight,
checked. I
eight
just
players.
looked. My computer's not good enough to play it. So
Yeah. No, it does not take a lot to play it, Colby. But so to progress through the game, like,
Colby's already terrified.
when you find their village,
Yeah,
and
I'm over
you're
here,
like,
like-
okay, like,
I'm over here, like, is the kid okay? Like, where's the
so
son?
the natural progression is you're like, well, fuck, we found where their village is. And I should say the island is different every time. So, like
every
when
game,
you
or
start a new game, the island will start off in a different
that's
layout. But
insane, dude.
You save your progress, but you really don't know where things are.
Oh, that's crazy.
So, like, every time you play it, the island will be a little bit different. But whenever you're like, your thought is, okay, guys, we need to go kill everyone at their village so they'll stop hunting us and attacking us at night. So when
And you
do
have
that,
you said you have, like, allies and stuff, like you can play with other people.
yeah, you can have up to 8 people playing on the same server.
Hold on. Remind me, Colby, Starfield. Okay.
So you find a rope tied to a spike going down into a cave in their town, in their little village. You crawl through this and you start seeing, like, deformed fetuses that are attacking you, and, like, worm-like creatures.
Jesus Christ,
and
dude.
Crazy things with no eyes, and, like, all this, like, weird demonic mutated shit. And it is so frightening because you're, like, you're spelunking through these caves with no flashlights, no guns. Like, the little shitty hatchet you made out of a rock and a twig is all you've got. And, like, eventually you might find a flare gun in one of these tunnels, or you might find, you might get enough stuff to make a bow and arrow or a crossbow. But, like, it's so bad, like, you have to hunt deer or hunt crocodiles or, like, find turtles and, like, build a water collector that will collect the rainwater for you to drink water, because you have to eat and drink water too, or you'll
That's
die.
the same kind of.
Like, it's a survival game. But
Well, I'm
you have
out.
to you make your armor. And
So anyway,
craft your
Jeff,
weapons and
Starfield?
it's crazy.
Starfield, Jeff, go.
Starfield. Have you heard anything about this?
I know
The
about
new
yeah.
Xbox game?
I know about it. Yeah.
Because when I first saw it, which was just the other day, with the, I guess, Microsoft's version of E3, Bethesda said it was 25 years in the making. So
Bethesda said that?
yeah, the creator of Bethesda come out and said this game is 25 years in the making. I
They've
guess
barely been in business for 25
I think it's
years.
like 19
They
years. but
they
I
probably
guess
just
it's been
mean
a
like
vision.
they probably just mean like the person like thought about that long ago.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah,
Chris
'cause
Roberts
that's
with Star
like
Citizen.
Fallout
I mean,
1 is barely that old.
Do you think that this game might be something like Star Citizen?
Oh, it's
Like I didn't look at anything about it. I just saw the trailer.
yeah. Think like
Because I was definitely getting that kind of vibe from it.
think Elder Scrolls, like I think Skyrim in space, basically, but like
Okay.
but all open world and online and everything. So yeah.
I'm pretty excited about it because
Yeah,
it's
it looks
free
cool.
for Xbox players or Microsoft.
Oh, it's free.
Yeah, it's day one, free day
Nice.
one.
Yeah, so Bethesda was established in 1986,
Oh wow.
which is the year I was born. So
That's
that was
exactly- No, 35 years. Never mind. Like 35
yeah, that was
years ago.
35 years ago. So I mean, that would have been in 98, 99.
Yeah, I mean that's what they said. It said 25 years in the making for this
Yeah.
game.
That's wild.
Yeah. But I mean the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, look it up, man.
Yeah, I
looks
watched it.
pretty
It looks
fucking dope.
it's
Um,
looks interesting for sure.
I don't know, like the Bethesda games like have lost their appeal to me. Like,
Is it because of the Fallout 76?
I mean, Fallout 76 like was bad in that, like the Fallout games
They're
are
hit or
fun,
miss for
but,
me. Bethesda.
Like both of you said you play Fallout 3, right?
Yeah, I played
Yeah.
all of it.
So like you start off and like you've kind of got this intrigue of like, why the fuck did my dad do all this and leave?
Right.
And you want to go find out more. Like that's the driving force to get you to explore
Right.
more. And Fallout 4, your what is it? Your wife gets killed and your kid gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
Like your drive is to go find out more about what happened. Fallout 76, like you exist, and they're like, your overseer left.
Well, here's where they fucked up, because I was a big proponent of the Fallout games. Damn, I want to play this game with my friends. You know,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like the Conan or Ark. You know, you want to be able to go out and explore or do missions with your friends. Well, they took it to another level. It was like, oh, well, it's all going to be online. So you're going to be. Well, no, asshole, because if I build this base, now these fuckers over here can just come over when I'm not on the game and blow my shit up.
That's
Yeah, and here's the
that's double-edged
here's the
sword
other
with MMOs. Like they're
Yeah.
fun. They're fun to play, but real players ruin it. I mean, they do. Other
Here's
players
the,
ruin it.
Here's the worst thing they did. In Fallout 76, it is PvP. So, like, if I see somebody, I could just shoot them.
Yeah, go steal all the shit.
But guess what? When I shoot them, it does 0 damage. That means if I snipe someone that's running down the path, I snipe them, I did no damage. Even if I got a headshot, they could turn around and be like, hey, that's the dude that shot me, and then snipe me and I die.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like that, it's stupid.
That makes no sense.
That is not how PvP works. If you
Yeah.
are playing on a PvP game, you should be able to be ambushed. You should be able to be sniped, backstabbed, whatever.
That's what was cool about the Division, was like you went to a section of the map if you wanted to play
Right.
PvP. You know, so when you went in there, you were like, okay, it's fucking free for all. And like if they would have done something like that, you know, where like the center of the map, like if you go in this zone, you will be playing with other
Right.
players and they can kill you and take all your shit. But that's the chance you
If
take.
you,
I just
if
don't
you
wanna be
stay
in
out
the
of that
game.
area, then you're
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what a lot of games
the
have
game.
done with PvP. Like, me and you played SWTOR before Star Wars: The Old Republic, and it was set up that way, wasn't it? Like some planets were neutral, and
yeah,
some
like
were owned
yeah,
by different
some
territories.
yeah, some were basically more or less peaceful with other players. Other times you could you could queue up for a battleground if you wanted to go. Like if you wanted to PvP, you could like put your name in or whatever, and they would like summon you when the battle was ready, and they teleport you there or whatever. But yeah, and WoW's very similar to that, where there's different zones. Some are alliance controlled, some are horde, some are neutral, that kind of stuff. I haven't played WoW in like years, but that's basically how it was. Star Wars Galaxies was a lot like
you had to go into enemy territory to be susceptible.
Yeah, Star Wars
or
Galaxies
into
was a lot
battle
like the Division.
or an area that was in conflict.
There was a portion of the map in Star Wars Galaxies that you would go into, and it would just be a free for all, restless.
Yeah.
And other places you could engage in that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like a huge like scale battle or anything. It would be like 1v1 kind of thing,
Yeah, and you had to accept it like as a duel. Like you had to accept the challenge.
Yeah, I Star Citizen is open PvP. Like it's just you pretty much just kill anyone whenever you want, with exceptions of like really large towns, or not towns, but like really large like cities and stuff. Like there's certain places where you can't even take your gun out. Like it won't, the security won't let you do it. But
Right.
in space, it's more or less open PvP if you choose to.
Yeah,
but
do
then,
what you want.
yeah,
Wild West.
yeah.
But anyways, Fallout 76 was kind of a dud, and to be honest, Fallout 4. But this is really, it's a pro and a con for them. Is they have so many different like side quests, and they build these huge sprawling worlds where there's so much different stuff to do. But they're really, really
The main story is
bad
lacking.
at like there's nothing that really keeps me interested. The side quests aren't really rewarding. Like I had problems with Skyrim. I probably put like 80 hours into that game and didn't go past the first city, like the main quest wise. I never did anything. I just kept doing the random.
I never really got into. I don't think I played. I may have an hour in that game. Like, I'm really weird with RPGs. Like, if I don't love the engine like right away, I just won't play it. Like did you play Dragon Age?
Yeah.
So I loved the first Dragon Age. Just fell in love with that game. The second game, totally different mechanics, and I played it for like an hour, and I was like, nope, it's too different. Like I cannot get into this. And I don't know if Skyrim like never did it for me. I did. What was the one before that? Oblivion.
Yeah, Oblivion.
I want to say I liked that one, and there was one before that, Morrowind. I think that one was legit too.
Yeah, Morrowind.
But I know everybody loves Skyrim, but I couldn't get into it.
Skyrim. I could have done without all the. Because when I play those games, I'm never like the wizard, even like D&D. Like I don't like the magic and shit like that. I'd rather just get a sword or axe,
just be up in the mix and just
fucking fight at it.
Yeah, I do like magic
casters. I change a lot depending on what I'm fighting. But anyways, the problem for me is, I played a lot of Japanese RPGs growing up. Like that's what I liked, and those are extremely story driven, and they will have some side quests and stuff, but the story is the prominent part of the game. You're basically playing a book.
Yeah.
And with Skyrim and the other Fallout and the Elder Scrolls games, you still have that central story, but it's not that great. And you have all these side quests, and I'm so trained on the JRPGs that when you have a side quest, you should do the side quest because you're going to get rewarded for it.
Yeah, the worlds are almost too large in Bethesda games, and it's like you don't know if this is a real quest or if it is a side quest, because it's just
and when you do the side quest, you get like a helmet that is like useless, or you get something that's not worth the time you spent.
Right. You're like, I already got better armor than this.
Right.
This was the
that was one reason I liked Dragon Age, because there would be certain quests that they'd be like, you may want to bring this person with you on this quest, because like they basically tell you like, hey, this is an important quest for this character, or don't give that gift to this person.
I was like 40 hours into Skyrim because I loved the gameplay. It was a really fun game, and I was like, man, and look at all these quests. There's so much stuff to do. And then I was like, I feel like I already did this, but in a different part of the map, and I already did this, but in a different part of the map. And then that's when I looked up and realized like, oh, it literally auto generates side missions that don't mean anything. And I was like,
constantly,
this is a waste. I want to turn these off.
The Fallout, not 76, but the one before that one.
4.
Yeah, with the fucking guy, what's his name? For the Rangers or whatever, he would just fucking pop up. So and so's got a new quest. It's like, dude, leave me the fuck alone. Go fuck off, because I've already established, I've built your base, I've got all the fucking settlements on your side, but it never failed. Every 10 minutes he would pop up.
What was his name?
Paxton or some shit.
Paxton,
like that.
maybe. Paxton might be it. But yeah, they try to throw they definitely went for like a quantity over quality structure for their missions. They just want to keep throwing stuff at you that's meaningless instead of throwing you meaningful content.
Right.
And it doesn't catch my attention.
Yeah, that's why I really love the BioWare games, because like there's not really many useless quests in those games. Like they're almost all story driven, or there's a reason why you need to do this. Do that.
Like BioWare made the Old Republic, and as much as I
the OG one
really kind of hate that game, like
you don't like the fighting style.
Not Knights of the Old Republic. They made SWTOR,
right? Yeah,
as well. They were involved in the story, and like as much as I hated the like balancing in that game of like what classes could do, the stories were great, and I feel like when you did a side quest, it was interesting.
Yeah.
It was voice acted. It like gave you a little bit of like interesting lore. So I didn't mind doing the side quests in that game. I just hated the character classes were not balanced the way they should have been. But
Then you want to talk about
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
We need to start playing that shit again. So I think it's
Captain
next
Jack
week.
Sparrow.
Yeah.
Cameron and I
So
watched
finally-
that video that you made, like just a little test video you made. He saw it on my
Yeah.
Plex server, and he was like, "What's that?" And I was like, "Check it out." And I was like, "Look, Uncle Brian's steering a pirate ship." He's like, "I gotta play this game." I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, it's actually
I'm sure it's great.
My son Miller, 7, he loves to play.
It is so much fun, and it's actually it's one of the best examples of a game that doesn't have a story but doesn't need it.
Yeah, which actually it does have a story.
Well,
if
I
you-
mean-
if you want to get into it, but you don't need the story.
Yeah, you don't have to do that
Right.
because like you're a pirate.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
you-
go do pirate shit.
Yeah, like the pirate shit is you get on a ship like, hey, I think I see an island over there. Let's go check it out, and then you get attacked by a kraken or another pirate ship. And it's so much fun, but they are finally doing a crossover with. They partnered with Disney. They're bringing the Pirates of the Caribbean universe into Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, that's
so
about 10 years overdue.
you like,
about time.
yeah, like you bust Jack Sparrow out of jail. It looks like in the videos, and then like he's like,
Is this going to be
heard of the Sea
an
of
expansion or
Thieves
something, or is it a
blah, blah,
different
blah.
game, like a separate, like a sequel?
No,
or
it's-
something?
No, it's a
just
free
DLC?
add-on for the game.
Everything that they've put out for this game
It's
has
free.
been absolutely
Well, we
free.
should-
They updated
we should mess.
every
We should mess
single
with it,
month.
man. We should do a
I
Twitch stream or
love
something. You know, I'd
that
much
game.
rather play that than fucking like go to a haunted house than get destroyed by a
it
ghost.
would be ideal if we had 4 committed people to playing it on
Yeah.
like at a certain time, but
Actually, us 3 could play it.
yeah,
with-
we
with
could do
just
a
the brigantine.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, aren't you done building his computer and everything? So he can finally like you do
well,
stuff at his house.
it's crossplay. So
Yeah, I
he
can
Oh, you
play
can play it
on
on
Xbox.
Xbox.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have the game, but I mean, I could get it.
It's very cheap.
it's actually free on the Xbox.
Yeah, but if you have Xbox Game Pass, it's free too.
Yeah.
But I bought it, and they give you some other stuff when you buy it, like you get some in-game currency to buy some skins and stuff.
Yeah, you can buy pets and.
But I think the game's really fun, and
Dude, it's a beautiful game.
especially
if
with
you just want to
friends.
chill out and relax and just fucking.
There's
drive
nights where,
around,
like-
dude, it's awesome.
I don't have anything to do, like no one's available to play, but I'll still jump in the game and get a one-man sloop and
Yeah.
just kind of sail around for a bit, not do anything.
This is how it works, Colby. You have a sloop,
there
which is a two-player vessel. You have
Is there a
brigantine,
Steam Summer
which is a
Sale coming up soon?
Three person vessel,
Probably.
and then the galleon is a 4-player vessel. But
It's-
you can solo solo any one of them if you want.
That's
It's
just
$40 right now. I might
Summer
wait
Sale.
for the Steam Summer Sale and grab it, and then
How
we
much
can
is it on Steam?
we can 40.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a Microsoft game, so I bought it direct in the Microsoft store, and I'm pretty sure it was less than that at the time.
I'll check it out there.
It's fun. That's definitely a game. Like I showed Brian a streamer that I watch all the time, Boxy Fresh.
Yeah, he's
Dude,
hilarious.
he's an Alabama fan. Like he'll yell "Roll Tide!" Like he'll shoot himself out
Sounds
of a
like
cannon.
Sounds like a cool guy.
He'll shoot himself out of a cannon onto another boat, and the whole time he's on. Really?
So I feel like and
Nice.
this might help define it for you a bit, Colby. I feel like it's what Star Citizen will eventually be, but pirates.
Yeah, I mean
Where-
that's basically what Star Citizen is now. It's basically like, hey, let's
Space
get in a ship
pirates.
and let's go do an hour game loop and just dick around and go get into some stuff. It sounds very similar to Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like I'll never forget the first night that me and you played when it was probably 1 a.m, and we were both like, man, we need to go like sell all of our treasure and sign out. It's getting late. And then the first island we pull up to, there was like a galleon or something docked at it. We're like, fuck, they're gonna chase us for our shit. We're in a 2-man ship. We can't fight that, so we leave. The galleon starts chasing us. Then was it a megalodon started
Yeah.
fucking with us? So a giant shark starts attacking our ship, sinks the galleon. So then we go back and get all the treasure from the galleon that floated to the surface, and then we're like, okay, let's go to another island. I think there was another ship.
Yeah.
They started chasing us, and then skeleton ships spawned, which just kind of lift up out of the sea, and it's like a crew of the undead. And
like Flying Dutchman.
Yeah.
yeah,
type
and like
stuff, yeah.
so we sank one of those ships, and then the skeletons sunk the ship that was chasing us, so we stole all their shit. And so it's been like another hour.
There's probably, I don't know, 100 islands, but there's only like 6 outposts. And the outpost is where you go to dock and sell all your shit at these outposts.
Yeah, and you have to sell all your stuff before you log out.
Brian's like, we should log out, and it's dawn.
Yeah. So we do that, and then we finally get to like another island, and a fucking kraken spawned.
Yeah.
And when a kraken's like, there's fucking tentacles coming up out of the sky. It inks the ocean, so like your ship doesn't move, and so we're fighting a fucking kraken to sell all of our shit. But I'm pretty sure something else happened. Like we were fucking. Yeah, no. It took like 4 hours.
Like they call it getting. The company that made the game is Rare.
Yeah,
and so they call it getting rared. You know, when you get Kraken and Ghost Ship and fucking.
Yeah, Rare made GoldenEye and Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
But you saw they're gonna finally have the ocean crawlers.
Yeah, they're supposed to have mermaids and shit.
Yeah,
like that you fight.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely check that out. I mean, it sounds fun.
It's a fun multiplayer.
You know.
It's adrenaline pumping. Yeah. Like I never imagined how fun it would be playing a game like that, where like, a rival pirate ship is chasing.
Is it like an MMO where like there's other players all around all the time, or do you join like a private server and just play with your friends or something?
No, it's PvP servers.
Cool.
So like, if you see another ship, you have to make the decision of.
Oh, that's right. You mentioned another.
Yeah. So when you see another ship, it's either players or it's an undead crew, and you can tell the difference by looking at their sails. But you'll be like looking through the telescope, and you're like, "Fuck, they're turning towards us," and like, let's get the fuck out of here. We can't take them.
And if you're in a sloop, it's the slowest boat in the ocean, but if going into a dead wind, it's the fastest. So as long as you can follow, keep your sails into the wind, where it's pushing to the front of the boat.
Yeah.
The bigger boats can't catch you. But as soon as the wind shifts, because the wind's always shifting, and if the wind shifts and they can catch sails, you're fucked.
Yeah, because because with the sailing, you're not just steering. Like you've got to have someone on sails that are adjusting things, lowering, raising the sails, throwing the anchor. Pulling the anchor up, doing all kinds of crazy shit, loading the cannon, firing,
repairing the ship when it gets
repairing leaks. Like your ship will get leaks in it when it gets hit by a cannonball, and you've got to go grab 2x4s out of your storage, nail it back up.
Cool.
Get your bucket out and throw buckets of water out.
Yeah. So for a game that's really cartoony, like it's really really cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of realism.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so much fun. Yeah. We definitely need to play it.
Yeah, we can do that. I'll definitely check that out.
It'll be a funny stream to do.
The more games we play, that don't involve, cannibals eating my son and, ghosts trying to kill me. Yeah, I'm down with that.
That game is really fun. Yeah, you'd like it. I'll play that with you. I don't know if it's on Xbox, but if it is, then I'll play.
Any other topics before we call it?
No, I think this episode was a lot better than our last one. Last one.
Yeah, we were so tired, dude.
Yeah,
you didn't say anything last week.
Yeah, I was.
He was here.
Yeah, I showed up.
Well, we'll go ahead and end it. Thanks for checking us out this week. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. This has been episode 6 of our podcast. We will probably have some more videos soon. We want to start doing some more reaction videos again. We've gotten away from that a little bit, just because Loki being released on Wednesday kind of sucks for our abilities to do those.
It's too hard to get a reaction quickly.
But we are, Jeff's got a computer now, or at least Brian's finishing one, so hopefully we'll be able to do more.
He's taking it home.
Yeah, cool.
At least you better fucking take it home.
Anyway, we had fun with this one. Yeah, you guys got anything else before we end it?
No.
Alabama sucks.
Go Gators!
Scoreboard.
I will chomp or swing the axe anytime before I would say roll tide.
Swing the axe?
Yeah, whatever FSU does. I don't fucking know.
Fear the spear, dumbass.
Whatever. What's the top? My wife went to school there. I've got it.
When my wife listens to this, she's gonna be like, "God, Brian sucks." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." So.
Hey, I like her team more than yours.
Yeah, well, everybody hates Alabama.
I like college football. I mean, I'm a diehard
Yeah,
Gator
I'm a
fan,
college-
but I enjoy.
I mean, you know, I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched it with you guys. I don't follow it. I'm like, I will cheer for the Gators and LSU, and that's pretty much it.
Most
How?
families
That's
from
like-
Louisiana.
My family's
Yeah, I
from
know, but,
Louisiana.
like,
I was born in Louisiana, and yeah.
And you live in Florida, so
His best friend
Yeah.
likes the Gators, so.
Well, I mean, the Gators thing. When I was a kid, everybody liked FSU, and I remember watching an FSU versus Gators game when I was like 5 or 6 years old at my uncle's house, and I was like, alligators are way fucking cooler than Seminoles. I'm a Gators fan, and I've preferred Gators over them ever since. But
you never
It's
know
just-
how the fandom is gonna is gonna find you. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, with me, it's like my parents went to school there. You know, that's where they met, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
and, like,
you know, Jeff,
you would have
you know,
thought I
his-
would have
his
been a
whole family,
Seminole
you know,
fan.
it's, you know,
my mom was friends with. Do you remember Thad Busby?
Yep.
yeah.
My mom was friends with his mom. They worked together, and yeah, I've got an autographed hat from him somewhere. And you would have thought I would have been a FSU fan, and I just wasn't. Nothing against them,
Cool.
just a childish thing. I was like, I like
Thad
alligators.
Busby, Emmett Smith.
Alligators,
All-time leading rusher in the NFL. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and end it, guys. Like I said, look for some more videos coming up this week. As always, fan out.
And out.
I don't know, guys.